Good day class, this is Miss Misconis and today we're going to talk about database objects, how to create, update, and drop them. But before that, we have to answer this question. We only need two things here. First is the XAMPP application, which I'm expecting that you already have installed. Secondly, the access to the local host, which I will show you as we go further in this video. Shall we? First, we need XAMPP control panel up and running, and by starting these two buttons here, we are allowing Apache module, this two module, to be activated. And we need to click the second button, which is in a row of MySQL. Let's click on that, and then it will take us to localhost php myadmin, the one that we're going to use in creating the database objects. Okay, now let's go here in this document. Okay, so here we have the data definition language, which will be performed in this video. We're going to create, alter, or change or modify, okay, the structure, and drop. Okay, we're going to do this following here. First, let's talk about how to create a database. So we have here the syntax or the construction and how are we going to use this command. And the example here is we're going to create a database named company. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this one first, and then I'm going back to the local host. Here, okay, we have these tabs or the tools here. Okay, as you can see in my cursor moving. Okay, let's click the SQL here. Okay, honestly, okay, this is much better than the other version. So yeah, let's proceed. Okay, so here is we're going to type our commands. We're going to run the commands or the SQL queries here, and what I have copied is this one, create database company, and let's paste it here, and it should be creating a database named company. And by the way, this here, okay, this thing here, the names here are the database or the database that is already here in this local host. So after writing this example, we need to click this go button here. Okay, the go button here, and then the green check means it's okay, it's done. And where can we see this database? It's right here in the left corner of the local host. And if we're going to click this one, okay, we are going to create a table because there are no tables found in the database. But we're not going here yet. Okay, I said I'm going to teach you how to run these commands that's in here. Next is creating a table. We're going to create a table, and this example here is what I'm going to copy now, and I will paste it here in this SQL right there, and it says that run SQL queries on database company. Okay, and then let's copy and paste it, okay, right there, and then again click the go button here in the right bottom corner. Okay, the end corner, just click that, and then again the green check will say okay, an empty result set. Here I didn't explain this command. Okay, we're going to create a table which name as sample table, and it has okay, let's go here, which is much bigger. Okay, it has two fields, which is the emp ID and the emp name, and the data types are integer, character that contains 25, and then the constraint not null. Okay. Then after doing this command, it will go here inside the company database, and this is it. The structure is this one. Okay, the sample table has two fields, which are emp ID and emp name. The data types are integer and character, and as you will notice, these are both not null constraints. So let's see if it's okay. So let's proceed. Let's say that we want, okay, this is different table. Okay, we want different table that says, okay, that has a name, employee table, which has constraint primary key. And let's copy this one and go back here, and then let's move again to the company database and click on the SQL and then paste the codes here. So again, let's go back here. What we're going to create is another table that has two fields, two columns, and one has a constraint, which is a primary key, which is the emp ID. Okay, so let's create this one. Click the go button at the bottom. Okay, right corner, and yes, there it is, the employee table, which has two columns, the emp ID and the emp name, and the emp ID has a constraint, which is a primary key. Okay, you see here, let's see the structure. Emp ID, emp name. The key here, it means that this column, this field, has a primary key. Next one is the constraint, create table with constraint number two. Okay, this one is creating a database with composite primary key using primary key constraint. So meaning it has two primary keys. And again, we're going to create another table here with 3 fields. So let's go back. Okay, not here. This one. You always go back to the company so that it will say that run SQL queries on database company, because we're going to use the database company, not the other tables here. Okay, so let's move on. Let's paste the data definition language, create constraint with constraint 2. So again, this one explains that we're going to have 2 primary keys here, placed at emp ID and skill ID. All of them are integer, one is null. Okay, so let's click the go button here and see if it's going to run. Okay, so you see here that the emp ID is integer as data type, so as the other. Okay, this is the employee skill table here. Let's see the structure. Okay, the emp ID and the skill ID have both a constraint, which is the primary key. A primary key or a constraint can have one name but 2 different fields. It can be many too. Okay, Now, okay. So now here, let me tell you what what are the other things that I want to tell you. Have you remembered the word metadata? So this is the example of metadata. This one here, the emp ID integer, and so what's the other information or the data around here? It's a data. Of course, we're going to in the employee or employee skill, since we don't have data here, okay, yet. Sooner or later it's gonna have data, and that data and this field here is a data within a data, and those data is the int 11, and then the null, no, default, and whatsoever. Okay, just remember that the data is, or the metadata is, data within the data inside a data. Okay, next one, the alter statement or the alter command. It is used to change, okay, or let's say we forgot to have a primary key constraint in the sample table. So what we're going to do is alter the table by adding a constraint primary key. Okay, let's copy this one. Again, this command here is allowing you to modify the table to have or to add a constraint that is a primary key entitled mpk, and that we will add primary key to the emp ID. So what's that? Sample table. Okay, let's go to the sample table and click SQL. And let's delete this one and paste this one. And click the go button here. If it's green, it's okay. So let's check if that has or already have the primary key. Before, it doesn't have a primary key. Okay, as we go along, okay, as you can see, here is the primary key that doesn't have earlier, because what we do is create a table that hasn't or haven't any primary key. Okay, next one is the drop statement or the drop command. Okay, this is used to remove a table or a database itself. Okay, drop table means we're going to delete a table, and drop database means you're going to remove the database. Okay, so let's first copy this one. We have, okay, the sample table here. It's going to be removed. Let's click the company and then SQL here, and then paste the drop table command, and then go. Do you really want to execute drop table? Okay, and then the drop table is gone. Next one is we're going to drop the whole database. Okay, drop database. So let's go here and okay, drop database company. So it should, okay, the company database should be erased. Let's click the go button. Okay, so it's nothing here, it's removed already. You can see the company database here. So now that's it. That is how these commands run. Now, after performing these create, alter, and drop statements, I'm going to teach you to the next lesson how to operate this new here, the buttons in here, the other functions of that new. Okay, for now, you learn how to create a database and create a table, and then create a table with constraints such as the constraint 1, okay, the primary key, how to put a primary key using command. Okay, and you have learned that we can add a primary key on 2 fields or 2 columns, and then you also learn how to modify, okay, or change something on a database object, specifically the table. Okay, adding a constraint, which is the primary key, and you also learn how to drop or remove a table, a database object, and database itself. So that's it. This one right here is the truncate statement, which is added in the data definition language. Since we don't have data saved here, we're not going to perform this one. Maybe later on in another topic. So that's it for today. I hope you understand everything.